Hello, my name is Adam Owen. I'm now going to read out loud Brian Altano's post entitled The Comedy Button, Behind the Scenes DVD Secrets, Volume 1. Hi, I'm Brian Altano, and I'm a co-host of a very special comedy podcast called The Comedy Button. You're reading this because you're already a fan of a show, or you have a terrible friend that shows you completely random images out of context for no reason but to mask the fact that talking to you about anything mutually interesting exhausts him or her. Life is a nightmare, but we'll get through it together, and maybe leave only a slightly worse world for our and other people's kids. In lieu of a real episode this week, thanks to scheduling conflicts, here are some special facts, strange anecdotes, and off the top of my head landfill heapings of uselessness about the show you or your terrible friend love so much. This will likely be riddled with spelling mistakes and grammatical errors that Adam is going to say as written, and if those things bother you, please fall asleep in a tarp full of condoms. Pre-show food fuck. The place where the cast eats right before the show is called Village Pizza in the inner Richmond, San Francisco. It's sort of New York style, and we order an extra large half pepperoni pizza and a plate of hot wings on the side. Scott gets a salad and covers it with hot pepper flakes, hot sauce, and other things that make it look incredibly unappetizing, because he still eats like he's being fat kid, dare to eat bad food combinations, even though he's skinnier and healthier than he's ever been since I've met him. Max and I split a picture of Rolling Rock, which is almost always flat and terrible, and I love it anyway because it signifies that work is over and I'm hanging out with my best pals again. Note that I despise beer, and this is the only exception for me. We usually talk shit about things that went right or wrong at our cartoon jobs, talk about what upcoming games might be good or bad, and complain about Arthur Geese on Twitter. Anthony brought a field recorder once or twice, since those conversations are usually just as deranged as they are on the show, but he stopped doing that for whatever reason. And then he moved away like a selfish asshole. This place is almost always full of children screaming, overwhelmed mothers drinking awful red wine, and frumpy college kids watching sports on the TV in the corner. The best part of this place, however, is that kids come in and fill in colouring book pages for a chance to win a pizza. Their terrible art is then posted on the wall for all to see and for us to make fun of. Highlights include kids that colour cows in with green and pink like idiots. Kids who draw graffiti all over a cartoon dinosaur like it wouldn't fucking kill them. For that and lots of just straight up scribble garbage and scrawled nonsense because kids are idiots. Sometimes we go to this other spot down the block called Q that specialises in twice as expensive diner style food, but after Ryan tipped them 2 cents one night, we've been hesitant. Usually when we do go there though, we mess with the refrigerator letter magnets all over the wall and write shit like fuck giant gamer dork meat cocks, and then leave it in there for families to see later because fuck the police. Once or twice we've attempted to expand our cultural horizons to anything remotely ethnic, but Ryan proves impossible to deal with in these situations, going as far as to order chicken with nothing on it, and then leaving all his vegetables on the plate like a savage. On the walk back to record, we hit up a corner store that looks like a drug front, and we buy booze and soda for ourselves, and Ryan buys gummy cola bottles. He buys gummy cola bottles before almost every show. Recording the trash for your sad, empty ears. I've sat in the exact same seat every episode and have never, and will never, miss a show. Not sure why, but it happens. Max makes drinks for him and I every single week, one before the show and usually one during. He's my favourite bartender on earth. Anthony always takes a shit at Scott's either before, weirdly quickly during, or immediately after the show. Always. Ryan has spilled food or beverage on Scott's carpet almost every single week without fail. Or with fail. Failing the whole time really, whatever works best for you. Scott almost always, secretly, but not so secretly, starts recording before we do the actual intro. This is for the app bonus content stuff, and mostly to catch Ryan off guard. He's like a dumb animal or baby that won't do anything interesting once the camera is dropping fuck bombs and sex jokes and all sorts of crass shit when the camera is off. So we trick him. Mostly. Scott's girlfriend has to listen to the show every week in the other room from the kitchen when she's not allowed to talk or be loud. Typing that sentence for the first time ever makes me realise how misogynistic it sounds of us. Scott edits the show every week and does an incredible job of it. Out of context bits are sometimes rearranged and woven together seamlessly, and things are cut, added, or stapled back together. Some episodes were a Frankenstein monster mess of fuck-ups and too hot for TV bites that need butchering, and Scott is the whimsical wizard that puts the horse glue to work fixing it. Random fact. My motherfucker said thank you, and bright bass characters are inspired by a combination between Old Dirty Bastard and this crackhead prostitute that practically lived under my stoop in New York City named C3PO. That wasn't her name, but she walked like that, so that's what we called her. One time she took a shit under my stairs. She's definitely dead now. Max has gotten really legitimately angry at Scott and I during the show for doing what he calls comedy keep away, where we yell over everyone and be arseholes. Jack and Max and I were fucking trashed by the end of the last episode he was on. I barely remember recording it, and you can hear how slurred our speech was by the end. Sorry. I never write bits for the show to prepare, although there is sometimes a note or two in my iPhone about something awful I noticed that week and that I want to yell about. But there are 2 bits I've written in full that I've never brought to the front of a class and recorded on the show. They are a back-and-forth pen-pal letter exchange between a rich 20-something.com arsehole and a starving child in Africa, inspired by real events, and an increasingly racist, hateful audio commercial for the uptight and miserable rich white women's furniture store, West Elm. Maybe I'll record them someday. That's all for now. Sorry your car-plane sex ride is being filled with the sound of your own thoughts today instead of a bunch of cartoon arseholes yelling nonsense at you. Have a great weekend, and call your mum if she is still alive, and say hey. Because that's a nice thing to do. Brap brap. And that's it. In case you wanted a weird-sounding British person saying it, you've got it. Bye-bye.